Hi Librans, and welcome to your reading for July 2019. My name is Melanie. This is a general reading for Libra Sun, Moon, Rising sign people. So given it's general, of course, it may or may not resonate, which is fine. Just take what you like and leave the rest. For the monthly readings, I use a 5-card spread. So the first card along the back there being about the past energy that may be relevant for this month. The card that came through for you guys is the Hierophant. The second card along being about the month of July, the current issues, current situation dominating this month. You have the 5 of Cups. Possible tools that may show up in the month of July for Libra is that you have the 9 of Coins, otherwise known as the 9 of Pentacles. The King of Cups is in the position of what may be useful for you guys this month, and the outcome card for the month for you guys is the 7 of Cups. And that final card lying down there from a different deck of cards, which I use more like oracle cards. That one is, and that sort of represents the overall theme for the month. The card that came through for Libra for July is called Ocean, and that's about surrender, and I'll be reading specifically about that card at the end of the reading and see if it fits and if it ties in together. I hope so. But we'll cross that bridge if it doesn't. Anyway, so starting with the first card and the past energy that may be weaving its way into this month. So you guys have the Hierophant card. So the Hierophant, I can never pronounce it right. This is a card, it's sometimes about marriage, can also be about tradition, conformity, convention, rituals, ceremonies, traditional structures such as religions, churches, universities, places that exist that typically are associated with a group identification of beliefs and ideas, old institutions, places of learning, places of worship, where there's not a lot of room for free thinking, that you follow the rules, and they're very structured, firm rules and systems. There's sort of a strict hierarchy and authority. There's sort of an institutionalized way of doing things. It can be about, morality, conforming, social approval, and universal law, or law and structures in some way, shape or form. So that's what the card typically means, and for you guys it's in the position of the past. So it looks like in your past at some point you have aligned yourself with a belief structure or identified strongly with a group and their kind of rules and systems, and you've conformed really firmly with that. In that even could be your family, really, some families have very strong sort of traditions and beliefs. It could also be cultural belief, it could be religion, an ethnic group, or a group that you've been sort of bonded to and connected to very strongly, that has sort of a hierarchy to it, that is kind of traditional and conforming in some way, and that those beliefs have served you well, in the past. They've helped shape you, whatever that kind of system or institution you've been part of has informed who you are. Perhaps though it has been you've been banging up against that in terms of what's showing up now, and then wanting to be more of an individual and step outside this kind of old structure that you grew up in, or that you used to align yourself to, even if it was more of a recent kind of joining of a group or of a church or some sort of system. And that, or this may, whatever that is really benefiting you now. So it could be that you're wanting to change that and break away from that, or that you are going to use that very much this month to get through this month. Because looking at this month, the card representing the current issues and current situation of the month of July for Librans, you have the 5 of Cups card. So this is a sad card, I would say. It's a card of sort of disappointment, of loss, of having to let go of something that perhaps hasn't worked out, regret, despair, something something that hasn't worked out, and there's a sense of sort of bereavement and mourning and grief, possibly. So something showing up this month that is quite disappointing to you and leaves you feeling really sad, possibly quite alone. But don't forget with a card like this that, or it could also be about, disappointment, say in an event, something not working out, or particularly in relationships. Cups being about relationships, matters of the heart, so they're about feelings, emotions, our connections, our friends, our family, our relationships. So maybe this month there is some sort of disappointment coming through in that way. But the thing to remember with the Five of Cups card too, though, even though there's some sort of loss or something that's leaving you feeling like you're mourning something, that there's still hope, and that there still is chance and opportunities remaining. It's just at the time of feeling really down and really lost and bereaved or disappointed, it's very hard to see what good there still is around you, and particularly in what relationships remain standing, because there is still some good stuff in amongst kind of the grief or just the disappointment that you may be feeling this month in relation to something. So next to the Hierophant card, I'm kind of wondering if you are changing something in your life in relation to a group that you were aligned with. So again, family group, friend group, sporting group, religious group, I don't know, social group, but something that was well established though. So I don't know if a social group, but some sort of group where it had really strong traditions and belief systems and ways of doing things that you needed to conform to in order to stay in that group. There is possibly some sort of disappointment with that this month, or what you have learnt and who you are as a result of that group you're using to get through the disappointment of this month. Because there's kind of a sense of aloneness, I think, with the Five of Cups card, which makes me wonder if you feel, I don't know, cast out of the group, or that you're having to make a tough choice to leave something that you were very strongly embedded in, and now you're going out on your own, but it feels really painful and really difficult, but you need to do it, possibly. What may be unhelpful this month, so some obstacles that may show up this month. So you have the Nine of Coins, otherwise known as the Nine of Pentacles card. This card typically is about sort of really enjoying the fruits of one's labour. So having acquired a lot of things. Pentacles are typically to do with coins, pentacles, earthly matters, money, finances, business, work, profit, physical, tangible things. And the Nine of Coins is like, I have acquired all this stuff. I'm feeling quite wealthy. I'm feeling sort of luxurious. I can pick and choose what I want in my life because I have the luxury of doing that. Sometimes it is associated though with kind of aloneness and being a little bit too oblivious to everything else around you, because you're just kind of reveling in your own success, and being very contented with what you have, and not, I don't know, kind of not sharing that, or being a bit arrogant in that somehow, or and so what does that mean in that this card is in the position of what may be an obstacle this month? So again, this aloneness, I think, and maybe this is a caution to not get overly comfortable with isolating yourself or sitting amongst your little comforts to protect yourself because it feels safe. And maybe you feel, with this sense of disappointment that's come along, you just want to wrap yourself up in a bit of a gilded cage and to protect yourself and your comforts, but not but this is very restrictive and is cutting you off from perhaps good connections that do still exist. So it's kind of needing to believe in yourself, but not isolate yourself too much. That's kind of the way I would interpret that as a possible obstacle showing up this month for you guys. The next card along, the King of Cups, represents what may be useful this month. I just want to note that you have 3 Cups cards in this reading, so I'm really wondering if some issues this month are around relationships. And Librans, I think, are all about relationships and connection with other people, and they love connections with other people. I think they're very sociable beings, but they need things to be quite calm and just kind of happy, joy. And I think it's quite difficult for you guys when disappointments come along and things get thrown out of balance. So here we are with the King of Cups. King, this cards could represent an actual person who may be useful this month. So this could be a man who's in a position of authority. It doesn't have to be a man. It could be somebody who just embodies the energy of this card. Could be someone who's a water sign. Water signs are to do with the cups, so of course that would be Cancer, Scorpio, Pisces. So kings are people in positions of authority and power, leaders, trusted leaders, father figures, that kind of thing. But again, it doesn't have to be an actual person. This card can be about having the King of Cups has control over his emotions. He's in touch with his feelings. He's at ease with them. He's able to ride the emotional waves really calmly. He's in touch with his kind of feminine side. He shows warmth and love. He's very kind-hearted, honest, potentially very creative kind of person. Could be a religious figure or legal figure. So again, if we think of the Hierophant to do with, say, a structure that exists in terms of religion and a belief system, with the image on that card there is of like a pope or a priest or something like that. Maybe you're leaving something to some other kind of belief system and turning to someone else or something else that feels more right for you right now. To trust trust someone that you need to go and talk to about this stuff, and need to kind of weigh up the pros and cons of moving away from an organisation of some sort, or that no longer serves you, or you are being forced out of that in some way. And there may be someone around you who can offer kind of wise counsel and support around that. Otherwise, this is about being able to ride those waves of emotion that look like they are probably coming up with the 5 of Cups card, and feeling some sadness and disappointment. So to be in touch with your feminine side, to balance up those strong kind of feelings with also being keeping your head on and not getting overwhelmed by the emotional waves, to keep some sort of composure would be very beneficial for you guys this month. The outcome card for the month for you guys is the 7 of Cups. So like I said, another few Cups cards here. 7 of Cups is kind of a curious card. It can represent choices, having a few different choices on offer. It is a card though of illusions, fantasies, wishful thinking, things not really being as they first initially seem, and that whatever choice you make or choices you make sort of this month are going to ultimately define who you are. And there is a need to make a choice, and otherwise you will perhaps stay a bit stuck, and perhaps stuck in some sort of grief or loss. So I think this is a card saying there will be some choices to make. none of them may seem like the best, but you need to work out what's real and what's not, and to use your rational mind in amongst this really watery, emotional kind of month to analyze what options are on offer. There are some doorways opening for you, but you need to make a good decision, not based on being overwhelmed and swamped with emotion. So again, with that King of Cups, just trying to keep your composure, ride out those intense waves of emotion, be able to put your thinking cap on, and look beyond the sort of emotional content of what's kind of going on to make a really good decision on a firm foundation, rather than informed by too much emotion, too many daydreams or fantasies or kind of things seeming too good to be true. Looks like you're going to have to work out what sort of dreams and hopes are really worth pursuing, and what is not. Where do you go from here, kind of thing. Really interesting month for you guys. Interesting in a kind of an odd kind of way, but perhaps a really profoundly deep kind of way as well. Now I'm just going to read from that final card lying down there from this book, the Dreamtime Reading Cards booklet that came along with the cards. The Dreamtime is the Aboriginal Australian spiritual belief system, and I just really love these cards. I love the meaning behind them. I love the images of the cards. They're really typical Aboriginal Australian dot paintings, very detailed, very symbolic. So I'm going to read now from the book about ocean, which represents surrender. Australia is a huge island continent surrounded on all sides by the Pacific, Indian and Southern Oceans. People the world over flock to its beaches to enjoy their golden sand and beautiful clear turquoise waters. The ocean is powerful, and at times its waves can seem scary. At other times the waves are gentle, cleansing and refreshing. Of course, this reminds me of emotions. Salt water is great for cleansing your body and your auric field. You often feel lighter, sharper and more attuned after spending time bathing in the ocean's healing waters. The ocean also represents turbulence, changes, waves of power and quickly changing environments. Sometimes you are being challenged to ride the waves of power when you feel them approaching, and I'll just add in riding those waves of emotion. There will also be times when you'll find yourself in calm waters, light-hearted and free. This card asks you to surrender to the power of the ocean and let yourself drift, allowing the waters to heal and cleanse you. Very wise on the back of perhaps some sort of sadness this month. A time of great power is upon you. Situations will move quickly and you may feel like the ground beneath you is slipping away. To me, that reminds me of that Seven of Cups card, where things aren't grounded enough and seem a bit too fantastical, and what's really real and what's not. Now is a good time to indulge in long swims in the ocean or soak in a salted bath. So I think it's saying, even though you're surrounded by these kind of watery emotions this month, perhaps actually using water or salt as a way to cleanse yourself, to purify yourself, to kind of surrender to the kind of flow of water will be very healing and very replenishing for you guys this month. But I also interpret that as needing to really surrender to what is happening this month, to not fight it, but to stay, keep your feet on the ground and don't get swept away too much with the currents of what is happening around you and within you. So I'm not sure who this reading was for. It seems kind of specific, but if it hasn't resonated with you, maybe check out your sun, moon or rising sign, whichever one you're not, whichever one that is not this one, the Libra one, and all the best for July. Good luck, and thank you so much for watching and listening to this reading. I'm very, very grateful for that. You've given it your time and attention, and I hope to see you back in August. Bye.